need a high-end designer or a lot of money to get a luxe look. Be your own interior designer.
This is Affordable Interior Design, the podcast.
Here's your host, Betsy Helmuth.
My first question comes from Annette. Annette is writing all the way from California, and she says, Betsy, I was so happy to hear about your adventurous paint plan for your new home. Last year, we had our hallway painted in Benjamin Moore Wisteria, our powder room in Benjamin Moore Summer Plum. We have loved and continue to love it each and every minute. My photos don't do it justice. This year, there will be some Benjamin Moore exotic purple coming to another room. P.S. Thank you for saving me. We repainted our great room in a white, and you persuaded me not to make the ceiling a contrasting color and finish. You were absolutely correct. I do have a question. We have our original one-piece vinyl floor in a 10-foot by 12-foot kitchen, along with a floor rug I designed that goes over it. We may replace the floor, but we think tile is a hard surface underfoot for a kitchen. Do you have alternate ideas for kitchen flooring? We have white cabinets and black granite with a lot of other color and texture in it. So, typically I don't handle renovations, so I don't typically pull out anybody's flooring or change it or anything like that. Typically, we're working with what is there. So, it sounds like you are set on pulling out the flooring versus just covering it with an additional covering. I love tile in a kitchen. Right now, I have hardwood in a kitchen, and it is so frustrating because it gets wet quite a bit. Even if you weren't worried about, say, the fridge leaking or the dishwasher leaking, my kids are constantly like washing their hands, not using a towel and just shaking it, and there's water droplets everywhere. Somebody must have dropped something hot because there's like a burn mark on the wood. So I love tile because these kinds of things won't create imperfections, right? It's kind of more durable and just looks better over time, in my opinion. I know that hardwood is very popular. Now, you could do something like a luxury vinyl plank that appears to be hardwood, but is much more durable. You could do, I did in my basement vinyl. It didn't look very expensive, but the flooring was uneven, and I wasn't going to be able to use anything that wasn't pliable. So it couldn't be tile. It couldn't be the luxury vinyl plank because it didn't have any give. So we wound up putting like this laminate type sheeting. Back when I was growing up, what did they call that? I had it on my floor and I just hated it. What were those called? Those laminate floors. I just lost it. Because normally I would know. My mom was so proud of it, and she thought it was so great, but it always felt sticky. She actually still has it. And it came in a big roll. What is that called? Mom, if you're listening. I don't remember what it's called because people don't really use it anymore. But, there's not an endless variety of options. I always think tile is classic. I might go with larger format tiles than you have here, which do make it look a little bit dated because you have the small 4-inch by 4-inch squares. Right now, it seems like the floor rug is kind of meant to cover up the flooring. You're kind of using such a huge rug for the space that it looks more like wall-to-wall carpeting than actually an area rug for this small circular pub table. So I would challenge that. It looks like you're ashamed of something and trying to cover it up. And I'm glad to hear that you're going to rip it out if you feel that way. You just want to be mindful that I wouldn't do anything white again because the white with the white cabinets just looks off or a little bit dirty. And that's how I feel about all white on white on white kitchens. Right? One of the whites is never going to look like a pure white because they're never going to exactly match. And even if they do exactly match on the day that you install them, the sun is going to fade them in a different way. And typically the wood is going to yellow just a little bit, meaning that they're always going to look cream and the floor is going to look white and the marble countertops are going to be stark. And it's just never going to look clean and fresh. It's going to look like you shopped at the white store and they all kind of go together but are kind of different. I just hate white on white kitchens. So I love that you have kind of this taupe countertop. It looks like a granite with a bullnose that's a little bit brown and a little bit gray. So I feel like you could go in the direction of gray or of brown for the flooring. Like I said, I don't have a strong aversion to tile like you do, and I think you'll find that the selection is limited, especially because in some of your pictures I can glimpse the other room and see that you do have wood floors. I don't love wood floors touching other wood floors when they don't match. And I really hate tile wood, tile that's meant to look like wood, those faux wood tiles touching real wood floors. I think it looks very mismatched, very weird, like you're trying to be the same, but of course you're not even the same in color, texture, or material. Yeah, there's just a lot of misses for me. So it's either tile or you're not going to do the vinyl laminate. No, that happens in 1980. Yeah. All right. A big thank you to Aton and the Embassy who wrote our theme song. A shout out to Catherine Heller who owns the podcast shop and is our editor extraordinaire. We also want to thank Ginny Sunasan and her team at the Savvy Podcast Agency for their help with our social, our YouTube channel, and so much more. We also want to thank Uploft, which is our parent company who supports this podcast. And lastly, we owe a huge debt of gratitude to you. Thank you so much for tuning in and for all your support.